Hello and welcome to Client-Side Web Development Lesson 27, Part 2. Adding this extra video just to be able to show the entirety of my HTML because I think in the other video it didn't show up. So I'm going to go through and just scroll through all my HTML files so that you can at least see how everything was constructed. Okay, so index.html, nothing's different here. You could see everything is set up. We have our link pointing to our style.css. We have our nav bar, so you have a bunch of UL and LI tags, so a navigation tag. Then we have our section down here. This section points to our JavaScript app, and it kicks off this initialization here, and that fires that off. Okay, and if you want to see what that does, and go ahead and make sure I'll do a find on init. These are the initialization functions. Really, all this does here is it initializes the login. So this tracks whether you're logged in or not. It creates that initial storage. Right now, you're not logged in, so there's not anything to really see. And we'll also do a console log so you can see what the login is there. So that's pretty much it for the index.html. So let's go over to the login HTML just to see what that's doing. So we'll click over login. Again, everything above here is fairly the same. The only difference, let me go back here. The only difference here is we have some IDs on these menus because we're going to use these IDs to show and hide the menus based on if you're logged in or not, or logged out. Okay, so these IDs identify that. This is just the one for fetch. So let's go back to the login. So we'll do that. So now that we're in the login menu, you can see this is basically the same. The only difference is this is active over here. The other thing we're going to look down here is we have like this error section that shows up with a bunch of divs that are ID'd. And again, this is just to display the error message if there's an error after you log in. Okay. Well, the error displays up here in this div. And then down here, you have the div that actually has the login form. So this is just a label, and then you have your input elements and the button element down here. So when you click on the button, that actually is going to go ahead and fire the submit to login. Okay, and then we have this init login script down here, and this kicks that off to kind of initialize the whole login thing. So let's take a look at that in the app.js. So we'll say init login. There we go. And all that does is it adds the event handler to the login button, right? So it adds the handler so that when you hit login, that kicks off. And then we also hit run the initialization to initialize the storage. So we do that, and then if we look at the handle login button, it's up here. This is what goes in, gets our username, password, checks it against, checks if you're registered, and if you are registered, it goes through and checks the password values and sets the session storage to logged in. Okay, so this part handles that piece. Okay, so that's the login. And then let's see, the other ones we have is a registration. So let's look at that. Again, all this is fairly the same. The nav bar is fairly the same. The only thing that's different is going to be the registration section. So this is similar to the login. The only difference is for the registration, it's just got all of the registration input elements. So here we have all these input elements. Again, same thing. Here we have the, well, let me go ahead and I'll stop here so you can see clearly how this is there. And I'm going to go all the way down. This one's hard to see. The only thing you'll see these options is you can fill these in yourself. Is that they have the states all in here. So you have that. I think I had Montana, so I'll stop here. It shows the rest of the states. Again, you should be able to figure these out. These are just the states of the United States. So that handles that. And then the last piece is the login form. So you have your zip code here. You have your container. Here you have your check boxes, interest, gender, all that. So all that shows up in the form from the other video, you can see that. That's everything here. And then there's going to be an init register down here that kicks off. So that initializes the JavaScript and the session variables so that they're initialized. So if we go back over to our app, paste that, there's initialize. And again, usually initializer, we create the event lister for that register button. And then we click off init, which initializes the session that we're, let's go back here. Yeah, so this creates adds a listener to our logout, and then it also creates the session storage there. All right, so that's that piece. Let's see. So we looked at everything. The last thing we're going to look at is the fetch, excuse me. Again, the top part is fairly the same. There's not really much to fetch. The only thing we do is we still call init to initialize, and then we call the StarWars API. And that's pretty much it. There's really not different. This part is the same in all the HTML. And then the bottom part is really, the only difference is the StarWars API. We go back to the app.js and go to StarWars API. And this is the fetch example, this is fairly straightforward there. There's really not much there to add. Okay, so that should give you a full overview of all the HTMLs, what's in the HTML, especially for that register. I guess the register was really long, so hopefully that helped you with that. Okay, so until next time, thank you, and we'll see you later.